But in terms of a human life, and if we look at it from a much higher perspective, what is the success of the human life? When the human soul coming into this life, having all of these experiences, is actually living through what was intended for it to experience. So the successful life for a person is that when they are doing everything that was intended for them to be done. And here, of course, we have to split the conversation in two parts. In a very spiritual part, a very esoteric maybe part is, yes, what is the human life from spiritual perspective? And then the second part is more of a secular definition, is that, of course, you are born in this life, you get certain experiences early on, and then those experiences are becoming a target for you to explore later in your life. Hello everyone. Hi guys. Welcome to my Worth on Earth coaching space. My name is Marina. If you are new to this channel, welcome. I'm talking here about personal development, spiritual growth, life purpose, and a lot of related topics related to mindfulness and our development. Welcome everyone. So today's video is going to be split into two parts because I realized that it was very long and there was a lot of information for you guys. So please stay tuned for the part 2. So recently I launched a newsletter. Yay! Everyone is super welcome to subscribe, guys. I'm very happy to start sharing more wisdom, more tightly packed informational content with you. In my newsletters, I will be sharing very much in-depth material of everything that I'm normally talking about on LinkedIn or on the YouTube videos. So if you're interested to get more resources for your personal development, for mindful career building, please subscribe to my newsletter. And you will be also receiving a small bonus and a gift from me when you subscribe. The practice that I'm sharing with you in my first newsletter is actually a hard earned for me. I picked up the bits and pieces of that practice over many years of personal dedicated practice myself. So it's really dear to me, and I normally charge people for using that exercise in my coaching sessions. But you will get that gift from me for free as gratitude for joining my newsletter. And yeah, with this, let's get rolling. So today's topic is going to be on success, on successful life. And if you know me, if you follow me for a little while, you know that my definition of success, it's not conventional. I do not share only something that is very obvious and something that a lot of people are also talking about. I'm not going to be dedicating too much time today to talking about productivity, about habits, about discipline. All of the things are incredibly important. But I want to take it a step further in this video, and I want to talk about fundamental pillars of a successful life for any human being, regardless whether you are in business, whether you're a housewife, whether you are 20 or you're 50. What are the core components of a successful life for every single person that they can go through their life from birth to departure, feeling that they have really fulfilled their purpose and they live their life very successfully? And firstly, of course, let's talk about the definition of success. What is my definition of success? We have to start with biological definition here. What is biological definition of success, of a successful life? Well, it's actually very simple. It's just about survival. In a biological sense, you are succeeding in life if you're alive, if you have survived on a physical level, meaning that you are eating, you are sleeping, your body is intact, not injured, you are not chased by predators, no one is biting off your arms and legs. So that's basically a successful life. So biology sets very low standard for human beings, and in biological sense, you're successful if you're alive. So if you're living and breathing and watching this video, congrats, you are very successful in biological sense. But let's talk about a bit more relevant for human beings definition of success. So a lot of people say that being successful means achieving certain desirable status and qualities. So what do we conventionally consider successful? Of course, a person who has material wealth, has abundance, person who has a lot of money, person that has reached career success, person that is respected, well regarded. For some people, being successful means that you are better than others, you are more competitive, you are higher in the hierarchy in the human society. For some people, success means more about their health, their connection with themselves. Maybe they are creative people, so for them success means that they're creatively representing themselves and they're channeling some creative energies, some creative ideas into the material world, and they're able to realize all of their projects like that. For some people, success in a more conventional sense is, of course, having a family, getting married, establishing yourself, getting a house, having children, having maybe pets, maybe having a garden, having few properties, for example, buying several houses and supporting their family, being able to provide for their extended family, for their siblings, for their parents. So people that are valuing more of a family family-related values. For some people, success, it's highly related to freedom, financial, of course, freedom of time, freedom of movement. So some people really want to achieve success in terms of being free from being attached to something that is restricting their ability to choose and restricting their ability to manifest things in their life that they really want. So there are different areas of success that every one of us is basically encoded from the society. Where do we take all of these ideas from? Of course, everywhere around us. We take it in our early childhood from our parents and our closest circle of important adults, some authoritative figures. So it could be your, for example, older siblings, or your parents, your grandparents, your caregiver, maybe someone at school, maybe someone in your community, in your neighborhood, maybe some friends. And we take on the values and important criteria for success from these people early on in life. So now that we know that we have basically both instinctual definition of success, which is everything about our physical thriving, and we also have our social description of a success, which means basically growing and achieving certain things to provide for a respectable lifestyle from others. Now let's talk about definition of success that I prefer to talk about much more, and this is the definition of success in a very holistic way. So are there any components of holistic success? So, and here I will start very theoretically. What is success? What is to succeed? So success, in a very plain, simple term, for me, it's achievement of something that was intended. Now let's expand it and let's add human life to this equation. So what is intended of a human life? We know in biological sense, survival. In social sense, it's to be respected, accepted by your community. But in terms of a human life, and if we look at it from a much higher perspective, what is the success of the human life? When the human soul coming into this life, having all of these experiences, is actually living through what was intended for it to experience. So the successful life for a person is that when they are doing everything that was intended for them to be done. And here, of course, we have to split the conversation in two parts. In a very spiritual part, very esoteric maybe part is, yes, what is the human life from spiritual perspective? If you believe in a soul, in incarnation, then you would say that the success of a human life is to be incarnated in human body, to go through the experiences that your soul has pre-designed for you to experience before, and get the lessons, get the certain learnings out of it and experiences, and take them with you once your life is over. So that's one part. And then the second part is more of a secular definition, is that, of course, you are born in this life, you get certain experiences early on, and then those experiences are becoming a target for you to explore later in your life. So you have certain questions, you have certain fundamental events that have formed you, and then throughout your lifetime you are exploring these fundamental components of your psyche, of your personality and the character. You're exploring them, you're making conclusions of how they are, and maybe you decide to change some of them. You try to change maybe some of your beliefs, some of the experiences that you had. So let me give you an example here. If you were born in a family where there were very poor communication between your parents, so mother and father were not able to express love to each other, there was a lot of quarreling, maybe scandals, and then you as a child growing up with a task to explore the relationships. Are they supposed to be like that necessarily? Is there any other way to have more healthy, more fulfilling, more loving relationship? And then throughout your lifetime, you're exploring the topic of relationships from many different angles. You have your friends, you have your first partners, you have relationship at work with your co-workers and with your boss. And then you're exploring, is it possible to have really stable, good, loving, respectful relationships between people? So this becomes the goal and the purpose of your life, to explore this topic that as a kid you were given as a task. So to sum up, my definition of a successful life is to live your life as was intended for you to experience, and to make very important for you conclusions, and hopefully also to expand your level of influence on this life. In other words, to be able to manifest your creativity from within, to be able to impact this world. So now that we discussed the definition, let's talk about specifically success for you, because of course it's really nice when we're talking about successful life in very theoretical terms, but then you're watching it and thinking, yeah, but what's in it for me? What is my successful life? I have my own opinion and definition of that. So let's look into this as well. What are the components of your successful life? Please stay tuned for the part 2.